Greetings from Northfield, Minnesota. I am Susan Hvistendahl, and I've written 3 historic happenings books about Northfield, St. Olaf, and Carleton, collected from my historic happenings columns, which I wrote for the Entertainment Guide between 2007 and 2016. To give you an idea of the selected stories from the 3rd volume shown here of stories about local history, I've chosen to read Look Up in the Sky, originally published in November 2007. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Schiller. On November 10, 1962, a Carleton football game versus Lawrence was interrupted by a strange sight. A helicopter flew over Laird Field, dropping as low as 100 feet. Swinging back and forth at the end of a 50-foot chain attached to a landing rail was a bust of the German poet Johann Christoph Friedrich von Schiller, sporting a red tie. The word was passed through the crowd, "It's Schiller!" and an uproar ensued. Some of you may be perplexed at this point, so we must back up a bit. In the 1920s and 1930s, as documented in the Carleton archives, a bust of Schiller led a placid life in Carleton's Scoville Library in quiet communion with nearby busts of Shakespeare and Garfield, the president, not the cat. At some point, the bust was exiled to the storage room in the solarium of the library, where it was found in 1957 by a student named Bruce Herrick, who thought it would make a mighty fine dorm room decoration. Other students also admired this bust, and in the years to come, Schiller was either purloined or passed among them, popping up on odd occasions from hiding places. Schiller also spent some time decorating the garden of Carleton President Larry Gould, whose penchant for wearing red ties was passed along to the bust upon Gould's retirement after the 1961-62 school year. So, red tie and all, here was Schiller on November 10, 1962, swinging above his admirers from a helicopter that had been rented from the Rosemont Airport for $60 by Carleton freshmen Dan Jepson and Bill Kolb, using donations from other frosh. The pilot, a St. Olaf graduate, also took the helicopter over a St. Olaf game in progress, but no one recognized Schiller. After Schiller's aerial adventure, Jepson returned the relatively unscathed bust to its home in the Lyman Lakes drain pipe. Schiller was not so lucky during an appearance at a football game in October of 1965. Arriving on horseback, Schiller was dropped by his guardian and the bust busted in two. One floor of the Goodhue men's dorm ended up with the head, another with the base and shoulders, and the 2 floors played a football game to see which floor would gain full possession. The bust was then reconstructed, spending time in Duluth for R&R. Due to its fragility and the slings and arrows of its outrageous fortune, the bust has had several reincarnations since then and has occasionally dropped out of sight entirely. In the spring of 1977, the bust was treated to a shopping spree in downtown Northfield and was pictured trying on ties in Perman's clothing store. The bust also tried on eyeglasses, looked at lingerie, and made a stop at Tiny's Smoke Shop for a cigar and a hot dog. Then in June, Schiller, wearing a red tie and mortarboard, was escorted to the commencement stage on a motorcycle and handed a diploma by Associate Dean Chuck Carlin, thus becoming a member of the class of 1977. But Schiller's greatest glory came in June of 2000, when President Bill Clinton gave the commencement address at Carleton and held up high what he called a souvenir of my stay here. To loud cheers and applause, Clinton said, "Someone asked me if I would give this fellow a ride on Air Force One to sort of add to the legend, you know." And I thought, why not? So it was that Schiller, once dangled rather ignominiously from a helicopter, rode in Air Force One with President Clinton, who thoughtfully put his signature on the bust. Carleton archivist Eric Hilleman notes that the saga of the Schiller bust in Carleton lore is one of the longest school traditions. Indeed, Schiller lives. Volume 3 of my Historic Happenings series, Historic Happenings at Carleton College, can be purchased at the publisher in Northfield by allmeansgraphics.com/books.